listeners. My name is Cliff Ratza. I'm the author of 2 ongoing series of novels, the Lightning Brain series and its sequel, The Keepers. And in addition to being an author and a writing coach, I teach at universities and have a consulting business. The title of this podcast is, How Ethical Are You? Some timely reminders. And because I teach ethics, the rhetorical question posed in the title is one that we will return to at the end of this podcast. But between now and then, let's talk about ethics and why it is so important today. And we'll begin with a definition. Ethics, or moral philosophy, is a branch of philosophy that involves systematizing, defending, and recommending concepts of right and wrong behavior. The field of ethics, along with aesthetics, concerns matters of value. These fields comprise the branch of philosophy called axiology. I mentioned in a previous podcast about the book written by Mortimer J. Adler, How to Read a Book. And I would like to extract from it what it has to say about reading books on philosophy and ethics. Like all branches of philosophy, the ancient Greeks created ethics, Socrates being the first when he asked, "What is the good life for a person to live?" His answer, "Live to seek the truth." So, ethics is the branch of philosophy dealing with questions of good and bad, right and wrong. What is truth, beauty, justice? Why is there evil in the world? Why do bad things happen to good people? Other timeless and ultimately unanswerable questions fit within the purview of ethics. These questions are better considered by philosophers and liberal arts types than by scientists and rational types. Philosophers throughout the ages since the Golden Age of Greece have wrestled with ethics and ethical questions, coming up with different approaches. And ethics shares a problem that is common to all branches of modern philosophy. The kinds of questions I listed above are examples of the primary questions of philosophy. Because these questions are unanswerable, academic or professional philosophers have only secondary questions to consider, which are questions about the methodologies of different approaches or schools, and then applying them to answer ethical questions facing society today. And I will extend what Adler says. There are plenty of ethical issues to consider now. The public is holding government accountable for how it deals with freedom and liberty, fairness and justice, and equal rights for all identity groups. And concern about ethics is also evidenced by heightened ESG concerns, environmental, social, and corporate governance is an evaluation of a firm's collective consciousness for social and environmental factors. It is typically a score that is compiled from data collected surrounding specific metrics related to intangible assets within the enterprise. Some professors of ethics want their students to read the ethical writings of the actual developers of the schools, such as St. Augustine or St. Thomas Aquinas, Kant or Hegel or Nietzsche, or those of the 20th century. these professors believe that a close reading of the original works gives us a greater appreciation for what the originators came up with. But my approach is a bit different. I call it my simple scholar approach. It serves little purpose to study the original works, which are often flawed because what they contain is no longer valid. And besides, their different approaches have lost the razor's edge, found only in when the teachings are innovative and the theory is truly new. That's why I teach ethics from a practical point of view. I don't burden my students by forcing them to do comparative analyses of different schools of ethical philosophy. Instead, I found one book that adequately covers the ethics people need today. I center my course on the book, How Good People Make Tough Decisions, and augment it with selected articles and videos. Rushworth M. Kidder wrote that book. He was an American author, ethicist, and professor. Kidder founded the Institute for Global Ethics in 1990, and he is the author of Moral Courage, as well as How Good People Make Tough Choices. His books resolve the dilemmas of ethical living. He was born in Amherst, Massachusetts. Let me summarize the book for you. Somewhere early in life, children should learn from parents, church, or school how to recognize right versus wrong. So whenever they are given a choice, they always choose what is right. If they don't, their mistake will eventually catch up to them. And then in high school, or even better, in college, they should take a course in ethics. Consider it like basic training. So when you encounter tough ethical problems, you know how to handle them. The tough ethical problems are those pitting right versus right, and all fit into one of only 4 categories. Here they are: truth versus loyalty, individual versus community, short-term versus long-term, justice versus mercy. And there are only 3 types of ethical frameworks for making the decision. Ends-based. Think of Jeremy Bentham's utilitarianism. Rules-based. Think of Immanuel Kant's deontology. And care-based. Think of the Golden Rule. And when making a decision, adhere to the veil of ignorance, as stated by John Rawls. Make an impartial judgment by assuming nothing about what class you belong to or how it might be impacted by the decision. Make your decision from the point of view of the universe. The book contains many examples illustrating all the above, but my reciting them to you would add little to this podcast, so I will skip doing that. And so there you have it, a solid, practical, ethical foundation for today. And why not find online a test you can take to find out how ethical you are. There are many, and all are quick and easy. It will be even more fun if you take it with associates or friends or a significant other. But the choice, as always, is yours. I hope you found this podcast interesting and useful, and I thank you for listening. Bye-bye until next time.